My lying ex-husband told our son that I was the one who cheated, and he lost his mind when I exposed him. Now I am pressing charges. I exposed my ex-husband's lies to my son, and now everyone knows. When our son was around 8 years old, my husband started acting differently, more secretive and accusing. Talking with a guy friend or being friendly to the barista equals straying eyes. I found out a couple of months later that he was having an affair with his coworker. I immediately filed for divorce and left him, and we had joint custody of our son. Of course, I constantly reassured him that the divorce wasn't his fault. I didn't want him to hate his dad because of his love for me, so I just lied about the reason and said that adults grow apart sometimes, and that's just how it is. But for some reason, he was never convinced. Well, I now know the reason. Years have passed. I just found out that my son thinks the divorce was my fault. I was livid when he mentioned it to me. Not mad at him, of course. He told me that ever since I started dating my new boyfriend, his dad revealed the truth of the divorce, which is that I got paranoid, disrupted his work life, became distant, and best of all, I cheated on him. I can tell you right now I did not. I confronted that piece of shit, and he got flustered, started screaming cuss words at me, cussing out his own son in the process. He told me that it's all because I didn't forgive him, and that I'm rubbing my new boyfriend in his face. So of course, I come back home and tell my son the whole truth. He's refusing to talk to his father now and doesn't want to go over to his house. I'm being cussed out by his side of the family for ripping a father away from his son, but I couldn't care less. Update. My son has gone fully no contact with his bio dad. As for his emotional state, the shock has subsided a bit and has been replaced with anger. When he made his decision final, I got a death threat from my ex Mill, my ex Sil started harassing my own parents, and my ex-husband showed up at my door angry and drunk. I've kept records of everything that they've done until now. I called the police and had my ex escorted off the property when he refused to leave and started to get violent with my boyfriend. I thought about hiding all this from my son because he's had enough of a shock. I figured that lying to him in the first place is what got us into this mess, so he knows everything. The good news is that they've stopped harassing me for the time being. I guess the police escorting my ex away from my house was a wake-up call from them. They contacted me once to ask me not to press charges and haven't contacted me since. Update. I ended up contacting my mother-in-law and sister-in-law. Here's what they thought happened. Years ago, I cheated on my ex with my neighbor, go on drugs, became paranoid, and took away his privacy. Current time. I'm jealous of the promotion my ex got and want to ruin his relationship with our son, so I feed him lies and cause a rift. Cherry on top, my boyfriend is a drug addict and an ex-criminal who's a bad influence on my son. They're now going against their own son and have agreed to give testimonies if needed. I've been keeping a record of all texts, emails, and calls. Every single time he threatened to kill me, the witness statements of my neighbors were collected from when he came to our house drunk and angry, and I have recordings of his behavior as well. A police report has been filed for assault, punching my boyfriend, trespassing, and property damage. I'm also requesting a restraining order as well as sole custody. I've brought up criminal intimidation, assault, and battery, as well as compensation regarding medical and emotional damage. Yesterday, he tried approaching my son after school ended. Luckily, my boyfriend was already there to pick him up, so he interjected. Everything escalated when my ex started making death threats against my boyfriend very loudly and almost hit him again. He even cussed at his own son because he wasn't going to his dad and siding with the traitor. Not sure how my boyfriend is a traitor, but whatever. He was threatened by security and finally left my family alone. Last night, he called me, full on crying and sobbing, begging me to let him see his son, and that he's so incredibly sorry. I felt guilty inside, but I held out, and I'm glad I did, because his sobs turned into screams and threats, because I've isolated him not only from his son, but also from his mom and sister. He said that he's gonna kill me with his own hands, and proceeded to describe in explicit detail how he'd kill me with his buddies and dispose of my body afterwards. Too bad that I'd already hit record. I feel heartbroken that all of this is happening. He may not have been the best dad, but he still was there for our son and acted like the father figure I wanted him to be. Now it's all gone to shit. My son is so incredibly shaken up. I'm spending a lot of time with him, letting him cry and talk to me about whatever he wants. I'm thinking of putting him in therapy, like I am. He's gotten a lot closer to my boyfriend over this course of time as well. Everything just feels so exhausting right now, but I know that when it's over, I can hope to have some semblance of peace.